will cover me. That was the first use of the magnetic pulse generator, and that was a long time ago, 40 years ago.
With a magnetic pulsar, how does that work, you say? Well, simple physics again. A magnetic field imposed across an electrical conductor, fluids in the body are electrically conducting, induces an electrical current flow. That's how electricity is generated, the power plant. Electrical wires and magnets, all interacting, causes electrons to flow, electricity. Well, so the magnetic field going through the tissues creates a small electrical current.
The magnetic pulsar, that's something that you would hold in your hand and put directly on the site of an infection, or the site of a lymph node that's swollen, or the site of a tumor, because we know it will denature that tumor.
Well, with a magnetic pulsar, we can zap or knock off these guys inside the teeth and just make dramatic differences in how people feel and function. Well, after I used the magnetic pulsar on my head and neck for a while, I noticed an abrupt increase in my ability to remember things. I can remember things now I couldn't before. And that was very impressive to me. Now, another thing which isn't obvious in the video is that I do have a problem with my left eye. Right now I have a cataract in this eye. And I've been working on it, and the cataract had been coming down, getting better and better. And what I started doing was using the magnetic pulsar over the eye. And then the rate of decrease of the cataract, the rate of decrease increased. It got better a lot faster, noticeably faster. And so I think some of the reason that the pulsars work is indirect. By killing off a lot of the bugs, the body pH comes back into better balance, the body becomes less acidic, the tissue becomes less acidic, and it moves out of the environment range of certain microorganisms. In other words, if an organism can only live in an acid environment, now the environment is not acid enough, it simply can't live there very well, so it dies off. I think that's part of why these work, because of pH shifts. Remember I mentioned that bacteria, for example, certain cultures have a negative charge to them. Well, one little bacterium, compared to this overwhelming pulse of electrical energy from the pulsar, strips off its charge, leaving it defenseless. If it's sitting there neutral, it cannot repel the immune system. The immune system is going to get it and destroy it. So that's another way I think that it works.
We now know that putting an electrical current into the blood will cause the blood cells to hold more oxygen. Well, that's what these new electrical devices are doing, is they're allowing the uptake of oxygen from red blood cells and from normal healthy cells.
We can get things into cells better. That means we can, shall I say, hyper-nourish cells.
Drinking ionic colloidal silver.
At 4 o'clock one morning 3 years ago, I woke up with the perfect solution of how to make it.
Colloidal silver has a long history of use. Because of its antiseptic quality, silver is used in both air and water filters today. Ionic colloidal silver can easily be made at home.
Silver has been known for actually thousands of years. Silver was used, as an example, silver coin was used by the pioneers. If you got water and you were not sure that the water was clean, you would put a silver coin into the canteen or into the jug of water.
The silver colloid's been around for over 100 years. Used to be in pharmacies all over the country during the century. It was readily available. It's cheap.
So silver has been known as a universal antibiotic. Before 1939, it was the key antibiotic of choice.
Freshly ozonating water. Ozone is nature's most powerful purifier. Ozone has been used extensively by the medical profession in Europe and Cuba. There is limited access to ozone treatment, however, in North America. The Beck protocol simply includes drinking water that has been freshly saturated with ozone. This increases oxygen and helps flush toxins from the body.
99.9% of all known pathogens are anaerobic, meaning they cannot live in the presence of oxygen. Well, when you put more oxygen in, that is only going to kill the pathogens. We know this is true because Otto Warburg, MD, is the only medical doctor in the history of medicine to win 2 Nobel Prizes for medicine in cancer research. He proved that cancer cells can only proliferate with the absence of oxygen.
And we later added ozone fairly recently, O3, which is used all over Europe. 7,000 medical doctors in Germany alone use ozone as their first line of defense. Not antibiotics, but ozone. Since most diseases are anaerobic, they can't live in an oxygen environment. So now we have the detoxification phase under control.
Using the Beck technology, when I introduced people to the ozone, where they were actually drinking the ozonated water, the experience that people were getting from that one introduction, in addition to the basic antioxidants that I put them on, it was incredible. I can't even begin to tell you the energy that people were experiencing. Now, they were using the ozonator as much as twice and 3 times a day, where I would ozonate about 8 to 10 ounces of water. They'd drink it in the morning. They would again do it in the afternoon, right about that 1 o'clock time when they'd start to get really down and when our air pollution index is extremely high. And then they do it again in the evening at around 6 or 7. But within 3 days, we saw incredible things happen to people where all of a sudden they were getting their energy back and the air pollution index hadn't changed yet. So I had confirmation by about the 10th or 11th patient. I said, we're getting results with this thing.
Now that's a marvelous thing to do to the body, because the oxygen from that O3 is a very, very potent form of oxygen. You don't breathe it, you drink it. It gets into all the cells in your body. It's carried by the hemoglobin in the blood, gets into your brain cells, your liver, your kidneys, helps detoxify you. So we've put this all together and are giving it to the public so that people can take back their power. They can take back control over their own health, the health of their families. So we think we're doing the right thing here.
So I was helping them with different nutritional therapies. And at that time, I didn't have the Beck technology. And I always felt like something was missing. There was a piece of the puzzle missing, because I could get people to a certain level of health using nutritional therapies, but I could never get them to get over the hump where they weren't always codependent upon the nutritional supplements. And what it seemed to do is it seemed to catapult them 3 to 4 weeks further into the program, so they now were able to get a better benefit from the supplements, and they were also able to get a better benefit from the food that they were eating. And through that technology, I've been able to expand my service for people and help them in many, many areas, from helping people with different viral infections, from simple herpes up to people suffering from HIV. Another area where I've had incredible success is in the area of people with fatigue, especially chronic fatigue, because no matter what the specific need is, the need is always to try and re-energize the body, bring the basic energy up, and at the same time try and reduce the amount of toxicity. And this type of therapy works at such a high level. I've never been so impressed by anything, and I've seen a lot of different types of therapy.
I use it on every cancer patient. So I have clients, I don't even use the term patient because they're doing their own modalities. I'm giving them the tools, and the tools that work are the ones they use. So I will help them to learn, because naturopathic is an education. We're educating them, so we give them those tools. They take it home, and it's a very simple machine. It's very inexpensive. They take it home, they can use it.
Back in February of 1998, I had come down with some debilitating symptoms, which I later found out was Epstein-Barr virus and/or chronic fatigue syndrome. Basically, I was perfectly fine one day, and then the next day I was bedridden. I had symptoms of extreme pain in my back, in my neck and my shoulders. I was tired all the time. I had problems with my joints popping. I was eating a lot. I was gaining a lot of weight. And the scariest of all was I was having problems with short and long-term memory loss. But for the most part, I was bedridden about